Hello Mr. Randy Duck and welcome back for another video. Today I have a special guest replay provided by our friend SQ02 here in the American tech tree tank destroyer, the T30. Now the T30 is an old school tank destroyer which I've always quite enjoyed. It's got 10 degrees of gun depression with a decent turret and 750 alpha. It's usually best played in a more sort of, I prefer to play it in almost like with the heavy tanks, but more trying to, you bait a shot out with your heavy time, sort of like a midline support. So you want to be quite close to the action because it doesn't have the, it has okay mobility, but not the best. And you kind of want to be fairly close to the action to get the best out of the tank. And that's why C2 is going now to the heavy tank area in Steppes to try and make the most out of his tank. Steppes is quite a good map for this tank because you do have that 10 degrees of gun depression and there's quite a few ridges you can utilise the tank in that regard. Try and get hull down so you're only exposing your turret armour. The turret armour did get a buff a while back where it sort of buffed the roof armour slightly to make it a little bit harder for the enemy team to overmatch you. And it's also had an increase to the rotation speed of the turret. So here we are at the start of the replay. You see he's gone to the heavy flank and he managed to get a fantastic shot there into the Chieftain's cupola, picking up his first shot of damage, high rolling for 780. But he is getting targeted by the enemy artillery, so he's decided to move to where this sort of rock mound is, if you like, just to make it slightly harder for the enemy artillery to actually get a shot into him while he's on reload. And he's almost going to try and reverse the side scrape here off of this, well, just trying to peek this rock, only exposing this turret the best he can to try and get shots in. Then whilst he's on reload, now he has that rock there, he can kind of use that big rock as a protection for that enemy artillery shell. You can see he's backing in here with the reason to, just to do all we can to avoid that shot. So he's had a decent start to this game, picking up 3 penetrations here, getting 2,300 damage. And it's a nice situation to be in because there's quite a lot of tanks pushed quite aggressively, and he's in a good brawl sort of situation, which is kind of what you want to do. You want to be in. You've got enough tanks in front of you to try and sort of divert attention, if you like, and then you can poke up and slap those tanks with that big, that 750 alpha gun. He managed to pick up the kill on that enemy bar, which is nice, just taking that tank destroyer out of the game, picking up 3,000 damage and his first kill. He's going to try and just poke around the left hand side of this rock, see if he can get any more shots in. Looking to try and get a shot into this sturve. He should be able to go through that sturve, and he does, and he actually penetrates that and actually bounces a shot as well, picking up 4,000 damage now. The team are down a couple of tanks, but it's a close game so far. Neither team are either winning or losing. You're just in quite a good sort of fight scenario, and so far he's pretty much been able to fire on reload, which is nice. Tries to get a shot into the enemy heavy tank there. Unfortunately it does bounce, but again he doesn't eat any damage in return, and he's done well to sort of keep those hit points. There was quite a few tanks in that sort of brawl area, and having kept those hit points is going to allow him to utilise them a bit more towards the end of the game. Unfortunately he doesn't get that shot in the Murat. He's kind of pushed closer. He would obviously love to try and take out the Murat because it's a dangerous tank. Doesn't want that Murat coming behind him, then it's going to be a bit of a problem because he won't be able to turn his turret and doesn't really want to eat that clip. Trying to squeeze in a shot into that Badger, which he does manage to do, picking up his second kill of the game, getting 4,400 damage now. And again, a close game. It's 10 versus 12. It's a pretty even split of like where his friendly team have gone to, which is always good. Going to try and now punish this Murat, put him onto a one shot, which make it a little bit easier to deal with. He does successfully do that. Unfortunately, he eats a shot off the 268, which is not ideal because he's now one shot to that 268 and a 2 shot potentially to that Murat. But the Murat gets taken out by his friendly 50B covering him, and that sort of relieves the pressure of that Murat coming behind him. He's now on 5,000 damage, and his team have taken the lead and have a 1 tank advantage. Gets a nice shot here into that 268, putting him onto a 2 shot, able to then pull back to this original rock to get sort of cover, and he does have support of a few tanks with him. And he's now on to 6,000 damage and 2 kills. So, you know, he's down to sort of under half hit points. You know, he can eat a shot off of, you know, multiple of tanks. Well, a lot of the tanks he can eat a shot. But obviously those big TDs, he may not be able to eat a shot off of them. So there's only 8 tanks remaining, and he's pretty much won this location now, and the rest of the damage is probably back at the enemy base. So he's trying to push forward to do so. As he makes his advance, he spots an enemy chieftain leaving, and he picks up his 3rd kill, putting him to 6,500 damage. He does the right thing of pulling back before he leaves, because the artillery is looking to shoot him, avoids the enemy artillery shell, and now he can try and move forward and use this ridge. Obviously with the T30 having that 10 degrees of gun depression and a semi-reliable turret, he can, you know, use the ridge quite effectively to try and get those damage in, and it's kind of an ideal scenario. Enemy artillery does get spotted. Thankfully that shot goes true and the enemy artillery gets taken out, and now no longer has to worry about the artillery, which is going to give him more freedom on the ridge, and that's going to be a lot easier for him to try and get the damage in. Looking for a shot into his Progetto, unfortunately it misses and he gets slapped by an enemy medium, and now that puts him onto a one shot, only 300 hit points remaining, so he's going to have to play a little bit more careful here, because you know, he can't eat another shot anymore, which is not ideal. He's going to try and get one into this medium as a return, and he does manage to do that, picking up 8,000 damage. So he's now having a really good game in this tier 9 tank destroyer, but there's still 6 tanks remaining, and this game is not won yet. It's still pretty close. So, you know, he obviously can try and do his almost to keep his tank in the game here, because he's had a really good game, and there's there's potential to get more damage out of this. Disturb, unfortunately that shot doesn't go in, and it's a little bit awkward, because with that Sturve being where it is, it means it's kind of pushing him back a little bit, so he does, you know, because he's got to avoid multiple angles. So now he's hold down to this angle on in front of him where the Leopard is trying to poke, and the Sturve can no longer shoot him from where he is. So he's in a good position, but he's obviously going to try and play a little bit more safer now. He can't be the aggressor because he doesn't have the hit points, so he's trying to wait for these tanks, doing the right thing, hoping that they poke and he can try and take out one of these Leopards. His friendly tank destroyer below actually does take out the Leopard for him, but now this Progetto is coming around. At this point he's probably thinking this is all over, to be honest, but the enemy Progetto misses one, bounces one, and then gets slapped by his friendly himself with a T30, and his friendly teammate finishes him off, and he puts himself on just below 9,000 damage with 4 tanks remaining there. He's just having a scan of what hit points the enemy tanks are and where the enemy tanks are, and he spots this Turan, which is pretty much full health. So he's going to try and squeeze a shot in. It does hit, and he puts him onto 9,400 damage now, with 900 assistance as well and 1,200 block. This game is, you know, pretty, you know, almost certainly won at this point now. Can he get what, you know, any more damage just to bring this game, you know, top off, which has already been a really good game? And he does land that shot into that Turan. Unfortunately, doesn't manage to get the shot in the last tank, but he does have a fantastic game for the tier 9 tank destroyer there, essentially getting 10,000 damage in the tier 9 TD. Only like a 80 damage off of 10,000, so essentially 10,000 with 1,000 assistance, 4 kills, a really, really decent game. And yeah, so thanks for providing that replay. But I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember, if you do like the video, to like and subscribe, and as always, happy tanking.
Enemy in sight. Hadouken!